Oh, indeed. And last point I wanted to make, kind of take you full circle back to your time as a Gopher playing for the U. You've got twins on the team, Connor and Ryan Riley. They're in their first USHL season. They're both committed to the University of Minnesota. You had an outstanding 4-year career there. You played on a national championship team. I remember that team well in '79. Just missed out on another one in 1981. And you played for a guy by the name of Herb Brooks. And just to reflect on that for a minute, and I'm sure that was something that played into your career path as a coach. And I'm sure that there are experiences that you draw on every day and challenges that go back to what it was like to play for Herb.
Well, I think there's a couple things, and obviously Herb. People know Herb, and they know, he was such a master psychologist and chemist, and there's a lot of great things. But I think the one thing that sometimes gets forgotten, and I preach it to our boys, and I'm going to say there's maybe a parallel when I go look. We use the Detroit Red Wings quite often as one of our role models, and one thing we had with the University of Minnesota then that I think the Detroit Red Wings have had for years is that our leaders, our best players, were such good character guys. I mean, obviously, we all know the current Detroit Red Wings. When you look at Datsuk and Zetterberg, I mean, they are not only great offensive players, but, probably, they're Selke Award candidates every year. And then you got Nicholas Lidstrom on defense. And when your best players are those kind of caliber of people,
yes,
and players, they pull everybody along in that locker room with them. And back in my days at the University of Minnesota, we had guys like Neil and Aaron Broughton, and of course they both had great NHL careers, but they were small town, humble, and they deflected, accolades, and they always were propping up their teammates, and they played for their teammates. And I think it was an era where we were very fortunate not only to have a great coach, but our top players were guys that when they did get the attention from the media, you were happy for them because you knew they really didn't want it, and they knew it was a team, and they couldn't do it without the team. And I just look back to the guys that we had, and really what a great group of guys. And I think sometimes, in our current culture, we've got a culture now where we're all on Facebook and we're showing off what we do, and it's kind of become a look at me culture. I still think those are the things that matter in that locker room, and I'm happy the Detroit Red Wings have so much success because I think they role model what it means. And I think when we all watch good hockey teams, I think those of us that love hockey, we love that our best players sacrifice for their teammates. You hear it in the interviews, and they get it. And I just, I can't say this, I don't know this, but the average NHL players maybe seems at least more humble than maybe the average pro athlete in some of the other sports, and I'm always proud of that.
Absolutely. I agree with you, Kevin. And when your best player dives, and I always think your best player, your top scorer, is also the guy that's willing to dive in front and block a shot and make that sacrifice for the good of the team in a given situation and do the gritty things and do the things that aren't so much fun to do. That's when you know you've got focus, as you say, with the Red Wings and a successful team. That's when you know you got everybody pulling in the same direction. That's a pretty good feeling. No doubt. And, there's times that in the locker room you don't feel, not that you never like to lose, but when and you can look across the locker room at your teammates and you just really went out there and busted your backside and we blocked shots, we did all we do. Well, sometimes the other team does that too and they win and it's 2-1, and I tell our guys all the time, we're not going to feel bad about that. We're going to move on the next night and we're going to go battle again, because the one thing about hockey, as we all know, sometimes you play really well, but the masked man at the other end maybe robs the game, and there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to regroup and have some resiliency and go out and go to work the next night. So I think hockey, absolutely.
We look at our youth hockey and the kids, there's so much to learn from hockey. Just if nothing else, resiliency to get knocked down and get back up and just battle every day and play for your teammates. And doesn't mean you have to win every game. Not every lesson's in a win, and sometimes there are lessons in losses, but hockey teaches a lot of great lessons.
It certainly does. And Kevin, not only as a coach, but as a role model and a mentor, I hope you keep teaching them for a long time. Your 6th season in Sioux Falls, your 12th overall. You have the highest winning percentage among the active USHL coaches. You're well on your way to 400 wins. They'll put you on an elite list. And I want to thank you for joining us here tonight, and we look forward to catching up with you again down the road.
Well, thank you for having me.
Kevin Hartzell, the head coach of the Sioux Falls Stampede, in our Coach's Corner on This Week in the USHL in terms of the competition.